Welcome back to Wager Talk TV. This is First Pitch. I have to say, that new intro fires me up. That just gets me going and ready for the show. Welcome back to all of our viewers. This is First Pitch, a 7-day-a-week show, 2 p.m. Eastern here on the weekdays, joined by Tony Finn, Teddy Covers, Dave Koken. Firstly, I just want to personally start off. I know this is an MLB show. I want to thank everyone that joined me on my NHL 5% play yesterday on the Edmonton Oilers. Had a very good turnout with that, and they got the job done. So thank you to all of you that followed. But like I said, this is an MLB show. We'll start things off, go around the horn. Dave Koken, how are you doing? And what's up for grabs for you at wagertalk.com today?
Well, the baseball best bets have been really good. They're 21-7-1 on the last 29, which is that's a nice run. And I've got one up today. It's a favorite, but I think it's a justifiable favorite, and I expect them to win. So that's available. I've also got 2 NHL best bets on later playoff games today. 4-2 so far in the NHL. So off to a good start as far as the postseason is concerned. And I'll be posting my PGA outright plays sometime in the next few hours at Wager Talk, and you'll be able to get all 3 of those for $19. So everything is good, and let's keep it rolling. And you, Matt, Andrew, is it 11-2-1 now? Is that correct on the baseball? I mean, that's a nice run yourself, huh?
Thank you. Yeah, 11-2-1 MLB run. I've been relatively low volume with it, just around 1 play a day, especially with all the sports pretty much back in full force. I have a 4% best bet up tonight in the MLB at wagertalk.com. Tony Finn, back-to-back days. You're an hour early just hanging out in this group. So I know you're ready to go. How are you doing, Tony? And what's up for grabs from you at wagertalk.com?
I have 2 baseball. And I have one association play from the bubble in Orlando. And yesterday was a good day. I actually had my biggest card of the year. I went 3-0, so it was a nice day. It was a nice bounce back from a 3-game losing streak.
Teddy Covers from both wagertalk.com and sportsmemo.com. How you doing, Teddy?
Sounds like we all had a good day yesterday. As a group, I won both my guaranteed selections. My premium selections, the free play wasn't any good, unfortunately. But the premium selections were, and I'll take that any day of the week. And we'll see if we can do it again today. I'm locked and loaded with a pair of plays in the NBA, including one that starts when does that start? It starts soon. I know that. It starts in about half an hour, and as well as a late game and one in MLB for tonight. You can get them right now, as you mentioned, at Sports Memo or wagertalk.com. I
got to mention, by the way, that I had a KBO loss this morning on a total. I got a really good number. I played over 9.5. Eventually, I think I got as high as 10.5 on the Bears game. It's 4-3 after 1 inning. And I didn't win it. I lost. Final score was 6-3. Imagine with bullpens working a load of innings for both teams, and there are no good bullpens in that league. And that's just a crazy loser, but they're going to happen sometime.
So $9 Mondays, obviously every play is $9 on Mondays, but $2 Tuesday, we have 2 featured handicappers, both from Wager Talk, one from Wager Talk and one from Sports Memo. Rocky Atkinson today from Sports Memo, and we have Rob Vino from wagertalk.com in action. $2 for their best selections, best picks. You can grab those over at Wager Talk and Sports Memo for less than a cup of coffee, guys. Great price there, $2 for their best bets. And before we start the show, one promo I really, really want to get out of the way, and I think this is one of the best ones I've ever promoted here at a host role that I've been given. We've got a code right now. You can use the coupon code WEEK69. You can get a week of any of us for $69. You can use that coupon code on several different handicappers. That's $10 per day. 5% best bet from Tony, Teddy, Dave, myself is $40. We are charging $69 for the full 7 days. I think this is a great time to check out any handicapper with so many sports going on. We are all doing shows. We are displaying ourselves and talking sports, but check us out. Check out our premium plays over at both Wager Talk and SportsMemo.com. Discounted from $119 to $69. You can't beat it, guys. $10 per day. Like I said, make sure to use that coupon code. I had a few guys messaging me on Twitter earlier today saying they didn't see it. They didn't see the deal. Click on the 7 days a week, punch in that coupon code. week 69 and cash in with one of us for the week for just $69. I'm going to start things off, guys. We got the Blue Jays taking on the Braves. Braves, pretty good favorites here, Dave. I'll start things off with you. Side or total? Any action from you?
Well, I mean, the Braves season just got a lot tougher. Mike Soroka, I was watching the game last night, and Mike Soroka was heading over to first base to cover on a potential double play, and I don't know whether the ground gave way or what happened, but he tore his Achilles tendon. So see you next season for Soroka, and that is a big blow to the Braves. And you have to wonder how they're going to react to it. That's a kind of a gut punch that could definitely have an impact on the team. Matchup here is Shoemaker versus Fried. I like Shoemaker. I think he's a pretty good pitcher. I don't like him against this lineup particularly, so I'm not making a play on the game. I think I made the price a little bit higher than it is. Actually, no, I didn't. Excuse me. I'm mistaken. I made it like right in the same neighborhood, about $1.70. So I think it's the right price. But I wouldn't be surprised if Shoemaker does a decent job here. And you have to wonder if the Braves might have a bit of a mental hangover after what happened last night. That was not a good game for the Braves in any way. So my gut says the Blue Jays might be worth a look tonight.
Yeah, Teddy, the Braves, relatively decent-sized favorites here. Shoemaker, I think, is a quality guy. What do you think about this price in this game here?
So there was a big question yesterday about how the teams that just took an unscheduled week off were going to come back and play. We saw Philadelphia look pretty lifeless in the loss to the Yankees. We saw Milwaukee. They weren't lifeless in the loss to the White Sox, but it certainly wasn't a great game from the Brewers. So I think there's some betting market implication with this number because it's a little bit higher than I thought it was going to be. And Fried is certainly now he's the unquestioned Braves ace. But when you look at the state of the Atlanta bullpen behind him, the Braves haven't had a single day off yet since the start of the season. And that doesn't happen at the beginning of the season. And now they've got, 4 starters on the DL? They have nobody, none of their last 4 starters have made it through the 5th inning. So the bullpen's getting used up. If Fried doesn't throw a gem here, I would think that Toronto might be live. I can only look at the plus price in this one.
Tony, we hear Teddy saying we know who the number one guy is now. I mean, I talked with you off air about these 2 pitchers, 2 quality guys. What are you thinking here for this game?
Well, I personally never thought Soroka was he's just not this age of a kind of pitcher. He's not a Maddox. He can't spot a ball like Maddox or even a Hendricks of the Cubs. He just pitches to contact. And if you're pitching to contact in this day and age of baseball, then I think you have too much batted ball luck to be depend on you. I think Fried is easily the best pitcher. In fact, I compare Fried. If you look some of his underlying peripherals, his curveball, his RPMs on his curveball are just over the top crazy. They're Kershaw-like. This kid can throw 75. He can throw 99, 95. He can do almost anything he wants to do. And if he's healthy, he's got a heck of a good career ahead of him. And Atlanta should sign him long-term as soon as possible. I really like Fried. Shoemaker, I've always liked him when he was at L.A. And if he could stay healthy, I think he'd be a much better pitcher too. But he's had a history problem with injuries or injury problems. That's been his history.
I want to throw right back to you, Tony, with this one. Rangers Athletics. We've seen a decent amount of movement on the price tag here of this game. Why don't you tell us about that and if you have any thoughts on the side or total?
Well, I like both these pitchers. I like the matchups, and if I was on this game, I would be on the under, even though it's the lowest total on the board at an 8. I was on Oakland last night on the run line with Oakland, and there's some concern playing the under here because I think Oakland might be waking up offensively, but we have to look at who they're playing. They're playing Seattle, and they had a big inning in both the last 2 nights to put them over the top. 3-1, if you want to consider that big, but last night especially big. I still like both pitchers here in this situation. I like the under.
Teddy Covers over at sportsmemo.com. I want to mention again, you can grab anybody at either Wager Talk or Sports Memo for $69. Get a week using the coupon code WEEK69. Athletics, Rangers here. Teddy, any thoughts from you on this one?
Yeah, it's funny you give out that promo because literally do not buy any of my plays today or anybody's plays. It's not a day to buy plays. When we're giving out the week for $69 with that week 69, don't buy any plays. Buy a package if you're going to get on board. That would be my advice. For this game, it's not a game that I have a strong feel for. Luzardo, look, Luzardo, the bullpen's been great. Every quote from everyone in the A's organization talking about Luzardo has been bet on. One after the next. Frankie Montas. It seems every time we see him pitch, he's getting better. Every time he's on the mound, I'm excited to watch him pitch. He's going to do something good. That is most assuredly priced into this line. There's a fair bit of Oakland love. And I know the bats got going when they pounded 11 runs yesterday. Those A's bats have been ice cold for most of the season. No argument with anyone that wants to bet Lance Lynn under the total in a matchup against someone who's looking real good in his limited work so far this season. I have no argument with an under, but there's nothing I got to the window with.
It's always nice to get a consensus play. It doesn't happen often, especially when we have 4 guys, 3 guys here on a panel. Dave, what are you thinking here? Is it a consensus? Do you agree with this under thought?
No, because the bullpens are going to get involved, and neither bullpen has been very good. The Texas bullpen is probably going to continue to be not very good. The Oakland bullpen will wait and see. And the first 5, it's 4, it's even 3.5 on the first 5. I'm not going to play that, despite the fact that Lance Lynn's been pitching great ball. And Lance Lynn's I've talked about him over and over again. He's completely underrated. He just goes, he's a bulldog. He basically is a one-pitch pitcher. It's mostly his fastball. But he throws like 4 different fastballs. So he's able to add and subtract, move it in and out. He's just an effective guy. He doesn't look like a great pitcher. I think the visuals do him in as far as the overall ratings are concerned. But you just can't argue against what he's done since he regained his health. Luzardo everybody says he's a legit prospect. There's just nothing to suggest that he's not. And the Texas offense did break out finally against the Giants on Sunday, but that was against some pretty bad Giants pitching. I'm not sure they get it done here. I think it's a real tough game. I'm not going to lay that kind of a price against Lynn. He's too hot right now, but I can't take the Rangers here, and the total is just off limits to me. It's 7.5. Maybe it's an under, but not with my money.
Once again, it's $2 Tuesday at both Wager Talk and Sports Memo. Those guys that are there, the featured handicappers, they are there for a reason. They're being very successful right now. They're hitting their plays, and we want you to grab them. Head over to both sites. But like Mr. Covers said, also that package is a great idea because you're going to get that person's plays or whoever you buy for 7 full days.
I'll give you an example. I've got 3 best bets today, 2 in the NHL and 1 baseball. It's $75 if you buy all 3 individually. It's $69 to get a whole week, and all the plays are included. So, simple math.
Yeah, Dave, I actually didn't go to college, but I can put 2 and 2 together there. That's a pretty good deal. So, Teddy, I'm going to go to you here with this Astros Diamondbacks game. Astros minus 130 favorites we're seeing here. I think this is a game 9:10 Eastern time. We're going to see a lot of viewers. A lot of money is going to be on this. A lot of public money. What are your thoughts here on this matchup? And are you looking to fade Mad Bum?
So let's start with this.
All right.
Is Houston any good? You laugh.
With or without the buzzers?
Is Houston any good? Because I watch the Astros, okay? I see a team whose best hitters aren't hitting. Altuve's ice cold. Springer's ice cold. They're not scoring runs in bunches. I see a team that has not just a little bit of bullpen weakness, major issues in the bullpen. With Osuna, the only guy in the bullpen that has more than 1 year of big league experience, and they have question marks everywhere. I'm looking at Houston right now. It's not a team I'm excited about laying a price with. I'm not excited about laying a price with. The question is whether I can get to the window with Mad Bum and the Astros. And so far, or with the Diamondbacks, I should say. Mad Bum to me has been and will likely continue to be something of an overvalued commodity in the betting markets. It's a guy with a huge name whose results haven't lived up with that. Their velocity issues, et cetera, with Mad Bum. And it's not like the D-backs are tearing the cover off the ball right now either. They're not playing great baseball, bad series against the Dodgers. Maybe a day off helps them, but they haven't scored more than 5 runs in a game yet. It's just difficult for Arizona to put runs on the board. So it's a game that I don't want to be involved with laying a price with Houston, and I'm not excited about the home dog. So total wise, I don't trust the Astros pen. I don't trust Mad Bum lean over, but I don't trust these lineups, therefore lean under. How's that for a long pass?
I'm going to follow up with that. So I understand, the way you started with that is just pretty much, hey, what is this Astros team doing as far as hitting the bat right now, Teddy? But I want to follow up what you mentioned about Mad Bum, and this price that we're getting with the Astros. I mentioned this in a lot of different sports and certain scenarios. Even though this is not a team that you're looking to bet on right now, if anyone likes the Astros or is looking to bet on them in the near future, would you argue that you're getting a good price with them and this is a decent spot because of the opposition on the mound?
Certainly, I've got my concern. If there's one game that Arizona might be overpriced in, it might be the game of Bumgarner's on the hill, just to name earlier. But no, what's he overpriced by? A nickel? It's not a huge Mad Bum adjustment in the betting markets. And Javier is certainly someone that has attracted some betting attention. But I know that these are two teams I'm not excited about putting my money on right now.
No,
David,
Javier is getting some attention. He looks like a pretty good young pitcher. Mad Bum is doing what he's supposed to do. He's looking okay first time through the order, and then after that, not so good. That's kind of what happens to older pitchers. They're smart enough to figure out how to beat a team once through the lineup, and then after that, they just kind of catch up. He just doesn't have the arsenal he used to have. I do think that this could be a low-scoring game early, though, for the simple reason that I think Javier, Diamondbacks haven't seen him, and he does appear to have good stuff. And I'll trust Mad Bum to get through the lineup one time. So that, to me, makes under 5 worth a look anyway.
Anything from you, Tony? What do you think about, first of all, this price on the Astros and these two teams? Obviously, Teddy's saying it's a pass, and we're speaking with what Dave was saying. Is anything you're interested in with this game? Because to me, I feel the same way. I'm not really looking to bet on this one.
I'm not looking. I didn't. I passed it right over. I think the price is about right. I think it's baked in. I think every comment that's been made by Dave and by Teddy and by you is accurate, and that is, Javier is a good young pitcher. He's still young. He's unproven, and Bumgarner is going to get some public chase. So
I don't think that's true anymore. Tony, I don't agree with that. I don't think he's. If you're talking about $2 bettors, maybe, but I don't think anybody who bets anything that makes the register ring thinks Bumgarner's anywhere near where he used to be. I don't agree with that at all.
I would say best public. I'm calling $2 bettors, $100
Well,
bettors.
then they don't count.
Yeah.
No, if you get to the $100 bettors, I think they pretty much look at Bumgarner as yesterday's news.
Not a bunch of the $100 bettors I know.
Unfortunately, I don't think that the amount of money that some people bet on games can determine their intelligence.
No, but I look. I just think most baseball fans look at Bumgarner now as a guy who used to be absolutely great, and maybe still can be in a chips or down game. For one game, you might want Mad Bum out there, but I think most people who follow baseball probably look at him as like a number 3 starter, and that's about it at this point.
Well, let me ask you guys this. Go ahead, Teddy.
Well, it's important to note about the state of the MLB marketplace in 2020. Public money doesn't influence anything.
No.
Okay. It's every line move. Every line is set to beat wise guys, whether it's side, total, first 5. They're all lines to attack wise guys, and the books don't care one iota. If they get slapped by the public one day and slapped by the public the next day, they're still going to win it back the third day. There's no concern for public money whatsoever.
Except for, I'll make an exception. Yankees. Yankees.
I don't.
Yankees are going to hurt the books.
Sure,
they're winning, and they're winning by margins, and the bettors are just lining up to fire on them every day. I mean, I talked to one guy. He's not local, but one guy who's in the business, and he's Jesus Christ. I mean, he just got pummeled with Yankees tied to everything yesterday.
Well, that's the whole thing with MLB. You know, in football or basketball, you can price a team and turn them from a winner into a loser. In baseball, you can never do that.
Can't do it.
The team that wins is just going to win.
It goes. And this has gone on for a long time. You can go way back here. I'm going back to 2001, and the Diamondbacks had the Schilling-Randy Johnson combo, and they were putting lines up for like $4.50. It didn't matter. They just kept on betting Johnson and Schilling every time they pitched, and they kept cashing the tickets every time they pitched.
Kershaw last year.
Yeah.
You know, what was the year the Dodgers went like 50-10? Was that was 2 years ago? The Dodgers. I mean, you know, when the favorites get on these runs, there's nothing the books can do until they cool off.
Closing remarks on this Astros Diamondbacks game. I'm seeing a couple 5.5s as the first 5 total, mostly 5s around the board. If we're saying that Astros aren't hitting the ball too well, and Diamondbacks, we can't get an extraordinary amount of runs out of them. Would you guys look at this first 5 under? That's probably where my money would be on this one.
Yeah, I think that's where I didn't bet it, but 5.5 under minus 120. That's not the worst bet I've ever seen. I like Javier, so if I'm looking at Bumgarner maybe giving up a couple of runs, if Javier can pitch decently against a lineup that's not doing a whole lot, good chance it stays under 5.5.
Yeah, Teddy, peer pressure isn't great, and I know you said pass, so I'm not going to be that host that forces a play. But if you were to play a side or total, where would you look here?
I'd pass.
There you go.
That's the answer I knew I was going to. I walked into it and just hit my head against the door.
So this is why I wouldn't play the under 5.5. And again, I'm not betting it the other way, but I wouldn't play the under at 5.5 because this game has 2-1 into the 5th inning written all over it, and then that second time through the lineup, you know what happens. You know, there's going to – if I could make a bet, there'll be runs scored in the 5th inning of this game, that's the bet to make.
Okay, let me sign in right now to my site.
I like that.
Lock that one in here. Tony,
Well,
any closing remarks from you?
If you got in-game betting, there you go.
Yeah. If I remember, Teddy, I'm definitely doing that.
I'm going to watch this game a little bit because I want to see Christian pitch, and I've heard some things. And Teddy's right about listen, first off, Houston's got some injuries in the bullpen. They just do. They have some talent that's shelved right now, and I think that there's a team that once they get healthy, I think I would find it hard to get argued that they would be considered competition in the playoffs. And
I'll make your prediction. They won't get healthy. In fact, I've been at this long enough. When teams start off a season with injuries, it never gets better.
Well, I don't think
never gets better. And I think that the Astros might be that team this year. And if you want to call it karma, okay.
Yeah. I think as soon as I think Verlander's out. I don't think he'll pitch again. From what I've talked to the people I've talked to, but it'll be fun to watch. Let's see what happens. Let's see who's healthy at the end. Right now, everyone's the sky's falling.
Now time for our part of the show, the MLB Rundown Quick Hit segment. We're going to just go around the horn, get maybe 45 seconds to a minute from each guest and get some thoughts on some of these games here. We're going to start with Cleveland, Cincy. Quick shout out to the Prez, cashed his 5% game of the month here on Cincinnati yesterday night. We have Bieber on the mound for the Indians. Indians, decent size favorites here around minus 175, minus 180. I'll start with you here, Dave, on this game.
How can you lay that? I mean, Bieber's been fantastic, but how can you lay a price like that with an Indians team that can't hit the baseball? I mean, they just can't hit at all. Bieber's going to have to go 9. Well, no, the pitching's been fine. Even the bullpen's been fine as well. The flip side of it is Malley. He never wins, okay? I mean, he just doesn't get victories for the Reds. So it's a pass for me. I guess if I had to do anything, I'd go under because you've got Bieber, who can probably give you 7 and a good bullpen. And while Malley is not great, he's facing a lineup that sucks right now. So under makes sense.
I said we go around the horn, but it sounds like most of a pass for Dave. So Tony, I'll go to you. Any thoughts on that one?
I like the under in this game for exactly the reasons Dave just described. Cleveland's not scoring. Their at bats aren't very good. They're just not very good. And when your three hitter although he did hit a home run 2 nights ago, he doesn't look very good. They look slow and they look lost at the plate. And until they find their mojo, it's tough to bet on Cleveland, even as good as their pitching staff is. And Bieber is the best of their pitching staff. So I like the under. The under, I think 9 is the number that I saw last night when I looked at this.
Antonio Eovaldi, Morton, Red Sox taking on the Rays here. Your thoughts on this contest?
That number is 7.5 and 8, by the way. So
I'm sorry.
no 9s. I never saw a 9 in that game. It's 7.5 or 8.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. What
You're not getting any 9s with Bieber.
Bieber had a negative field of independent pitching, which I don't think I've ever seen before. After his first 2 starts, negative, like negative 0.31 or something. I've never. Have you ever seen that before, Dave?
Yeah, but only for like one start or something.
Yeah. It's not something you usually see a couple starts in. Although I was reluctant to play that under at Great American Ballpark yesterday, just because if you watched the Cubs-Reds series last week, you saw how that ball was flying in that park.
It didn't last night. It was cold.
It didn't last night at all.
It was cool last night. Right. And in fact, probably Castellanos had 1 homer, and the weather probably cost him a 2nd homer. He's killing the ball, by the way. Is he on fire?
Tony, I'll go back to you. Rays, Red Sox here.
And I was. This is one of those games. So first off, we just talked about. It's one of those games that I considered under. I like both pitchers. I like that both pitchers in the game, and he's right. It's 7.5 or 8. I was the same thing I felt about the Atlanta, which is where I saw the 9. And you're asking about what game now? Which one?
Rays and Red Sox.
Rays and Red Sox.
The hearing aids up.
Be present with us, Tony.
Yeah, well, I'm old.
Tony,
Rays and
I'll tell
Red
you,
Sox.
A skill that I lack as a host is being aggressive. It's not in me.
Rays and Red Sox. The Red Sox are so hit and miss. I don't know how anyone right now can possibly feel comfortable playing the Red Sox. And the Rays have been struggling this past 3 or 4 games in this week. Their pitching hasn't stood up like it did earlier, and they're a hit and miss team offensively too. Unless I think they hit left-handers pretty well. I like them against left-handers, but in this situation, I can't play either team. It's a pass for me.
Teddy, this next one, we've got the Mets taking on the Nats here. This number, as far as the Nationals, around minus 150, 145, hasn't moved too much here. Your thoughts on this one? Any side or total action from you?
Quick note on the Rays Red Sox before I get to that, and that Charlie Morton's velocity is noticeably and significantly down. Yeah, and the markets are paying attention to that. But Tampa lost 3 games in a row at plus minus 180 or higher.
Yep.
And teams, good tweet from Ralph Michaels, one of the Wager Talk contributors, talking about how the teams, after they've lost multiple games in a row as big chalk, they're not good favorites the next day. So I know I don't want Toronto. When it comes to the Mets and the Nationals, I know the Mets got off the schneid yesterday. All right, they in the game where Soroka got hurt, but the Mets took some decent at bats in that game. They got a good pitch, a good night from both the starters and the staff. And Matz is someone that I don't have a problem putting my money on in general. But at the same time, on my list of teams that I want to put money on right now, the Mets are not high on that list. They're not close.
Teddy, I always love when you laugh to start off with. You're like, and the Mets. Then a little chuckle. I know something's coming after that.
Sure. Well, all these teams are funny when you think about it and talk about it. You can find stuff to make fun of all of them. But now the Nats are in this spot where they've been off and now they're back on. And what do you make of that? But unlike other teams in this role, namely Milwaukee yesterday, Philadelphia yesterday, I guess Baltimore's laying today, but we're talking about a team that's laying a price despite being in that awkward spot, and that's not something I'm looking to do. So it's not a game. I know I don't want the Mets. All right, if I had to pick a game, I'd say bet against the Mets because they won yesterday, and I think betting against the Mets off a win, there's dumber ideas than that. But not one that I get involved with like this.
Dave, the next game up here is going to have as many fans as probably it would have had anyway. The game of the night, Baltimore, Miami. I think there's going to be a bunch of viewers in this one. What do you think here? I mean, is this one that's kind of a hidden gem? Do you find any spot here to bet on here?
I like Pablo Lopez. I think he's going to be a pretty good pitcher. But there's no chance I want the Marlins right now, who haven't played they basically haven't played a game yet. Okay? I mean, they're starting their season all over again. And the Orioles have got a lot of momentum right now. They're playing. They're excited. I mean, they're looking at themselves saying, hey, we're in this thing. We can make the playoffs. It's a team of misfits, cast-offs, if you will. But they've come together and they're playing some terrific ball and sweeping Tampa. The question is, do they have a letdown here? That's conceivable that they may actually have a letdown. They just swept Tampa. That's a big dogs. Every game played great, came through in the clutch, and now they have to face who? The Marlins. Oh, it's not very exciting, but I don't want the Marlins either. So that's a 45-second way of saying I have no idea what to do with this game.
Guys, I made a bet with a good friend of mine. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, and I said he hates the Orioles, and I said give it 4 years or 5. I think it was 4 or 5 years. This Orioles team will make the playoffs, and it's a decent sized bet. And now he finds out the rule changed, right, for the playoffs, and we're hanging out watching the games on the weekend. And I said, "You heard about that rule, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, I heard about it." So, we're closing in on the last 2 years of this bet. So this could be the year for me, and it's going to be a really fun way to win if it wins. And this Baltimore team seems to be on a mission. It almost seems like a no pressure scenario for them. Tony, I'm going to go to you here with the White Sox taking on the Brewers.
Well, first off, I have a hard time at this point in time. I can't lay money on Miami or Baltimore. In fact, it makes sense. Baltimore's a favorite, maybe with Means on the mound, and against Miami, and as Dave said. But laying money with Baltimore, no, not me. And so we're talking about what game again? I'm going to ask it. No, never mind. I'm kidding you. What game we talking about?
Maple Leafs, Blue Jackets. No.
Listen, the rest of these games that we got on this card I thought was frazzled. It's the best word I can use. There were so many question marks. I have a question mark on almost every single team, and it didn't matter who was pitching. If Drysdale was pitching against Means, I would have had some questions about something that's going on.
If Drysdale was pitching now, I'd go against him because
yeah, well, yeah. I really in this particular game, and I made notes on all games. I sent them to you. I really, if you'll notice the notes, I just have I have absolutely a pass on this game. Absolutely a pass. Maybe the one game that I when I first looked at it, if I hadn't done notes, I would have passed over it. Not even glanced at it or looked it up.
I'm just gonna have to buy some signs, and we'll get one that says like play or pass, and then you guys can just hold it up, and I'll just select the person that has a play on the game or something like that.
Sure, because I've got stuff on the two games you just asked these guys. I've got opinions on both games. Let's start with Baltimore, Miami, where it's a letdown. You reading those quotes out of the Baltimore locker room?
I know they're excited.
They're believing, and we're talking about this weird season. How do you make money this season? You find a stupid team like Baltimore that gets hot, and you ride them for a week.
Them and the Tigers. Look what's going on with them and the Tigers. The Tigers are awful.
That doesn't sound like you, Teddy.
Well, and to your point, you can make money on the Yankees, but you can also make money on a team like the Orioles right now.
Well, yeah.
I'm not looking to play Baltimore for a month. Yeah. But if I'm playing that game, you better believe I'm laying. With the Orioles are chalk. They're chalk for a reason.
Well, that's because they're playing Miami.
So here's the White Sox and the Brewers. Woodruff against Giolito, and Woodruff has been brilliant in his first year. He's been basically unhittable. Every quote is this guy is bet on. The Brewers coming back last night weren't lost offensively, although again with Kane out. And with Braun,
that's a big loss.
It's a huge loss.
Yes.
Because it's the defensive metrics. I mean, he is a great center fielder, and they're really going to miss him. They can replace his bat, but they can't replace his glove.
Yeah, and it's I'm not high on Milwaukee right now. I'll put it that way.
Neither am I.
Even with Woodruff on the hill, it would be a White Sox. And the White Sox lineup, and again last night, good at bats, clutch hitting. when it mattered most, what do they won now? 4 or 5 in a row, the White Sox? That's a if I'm getting involved in that game, it's going to be ride the hot, fade the cold. And that'd be the White Sox for me in that one. So there's 2 opinions, there's my opinions.
Oh, you know what, Teddy? I'm going to throw it right back to you. If you can give me just 30 seconds here, Hendricks and the Cubs take on the Royals.
So Hendricks' last start was not good. And the quotes coming out of the locker room after the start was they were a little bit concerned. He was a little bit concerned. He threw a gem in the opener and then got lit up last time. I don't know what we're going to see today, but the Cubs lineup has cooled off a little bit. And this kid Singer for KC might be Royals might be live here. I don't know if I'm going to get to the window, but I know I'm not. I know I don't want to lay this price with Chicago.
Singer's a pretty cerebral young pitcher. I think he's of all these young guys the Royals have called up. I think he's the one with the most upside, not because of his stuff, but he seems to really have a presence on the mound. He knows what he's doing. But Hendricks at home, I just don't go against him at Wrigley. He's a home road dichotomy guy. He's just not very good on the road, but he loves to pitch at Wrigley. And he's got favorable conditions tonight. The wind's blowing in. You can tell you don't even need to look at a weather report. Just look at the total, and it will tell you what the weather's like in Chicago. It's 7.5. I don't care who's pitching. It was 8 last night with Mills. Now it's 7.5 with Hendricks. And this one probably stays under as well.
Well, speaking of totals, here's a field we see some high totals with. Coors Field, Marquez taking on Gausman here. What are your thoughts in this one, Dave?
This is interesting. It's Kevin, excuse me. Kevin Gausman's been around for a while. Not like he's a new kid. He's never pitched at Coors. And that's an old angle. First time pitching at Coors, not a good thing. He's also become a fly ball pitcher, which I think you mentioned in your notes, Tony. Yep. He's become a fly ball pitcher. Well, that's not a good thing at Coors either. Marquez obviously has better numbers on the road than he does at home. But, I mean, that guy's a hell of a pitcher. He's one of the better pitchers in the National League. And, he's got his work cut out for him here because it's at Coors. But the Giants are a team he should be able to contain. It's a big edge on the mound for the Rockies in this game.
I'll throw it to you here. Dodgers taking on the Padres here. Tony, your thoughts?
I think it's a good game. I think it's going to be a good game like it was last night. We talked a long time about the Dodgers and the Padres issue with Paddock and Buehler and that group but Dustin May stepped in pretty nicely for Kershaw. And I think it was a hectic, frantic game 1, a season opener, a lot of responsibility for him to step into. And I thought he did fairly well. I think Lamet might be the best of this Padres group. And I think this is an inflated price. I actually think that San Diego should probably be the small favorite here, and that's where the value is.
I have to jump in because this is a great question. Alan Kowalczyk asks, what sportsbook is Teddy Covers at? He's not at any because that's just a background. But if he was at a sportsbook, those numbers are really stale. They haven't moved in months.
Yeah. So that behind me, it's a banner that I got printed off a photograph that my friend Alf Bisquetta took of the Westgate Superbook back in the day.
That's the Superbook.
That's
back in what day, Teddy?
It was I don't know, the date's up there on April 14th, 2016, maybe. I can't see if it's 15 or 16, but yeah, it's just a backdrop.
Yes. So is mine, by the way. I'm not actually on the strip.
Well, I couldn't tell if somebody was joking one time, but Jared Smith was doing a video, and someone said, "Are you actually at the golf course?" And that
was me. I was having fun. It was the first tournament back, and he had
the power of green screen. I'm telling you, the power of green screen.
And I said, "Geez, you're right on the golf course." I mean, I obviously knew he wasn't, but it was funny.
I'm getting one soon, and I'm going to have some fun with it. I'll tell you that. I'm going to just show up and just be on a random location. It'll be just changing it during the show.
I'm looking forward to it.
We'll see how that goes, guys. But I'll get the last game here. I'll throw it to you, Teddy, to close things out. Who just went? Actually, I'm lost.
Well, it doesn't matter. Go to Teddy.
To me. It's fine.
I'll throw it to you. Halos taking on the Mariners.
He's been waiting in that sports book since 2015 to talk about this game.
I could stop. Look, I mean, Haney's the Angels' opening day starter. They get Trout back in the lineup tonight. And if you think I'm laying $2 with that team, you're crazy.
Oh, yeah. It's if you want to make just a plain old value bet, and it might get blown up, okay? But the value here is with the Mariners. There's just no way. I don't care who's pitching for Seattle, Dunn or whoever. There's no way the Angels should be $2 favorites on the road right now. They're just not that good.
Guys, I'm at a coffee shop earlier today, and people always, whenever I tell them what I do, they love to just fill you with questions. Sometimes I won't even say, handicapper and stuff, because it's just you're just trying to have some time on your laptop and hang out. And this guy's like, man, the Angels must be disappointed with their start. This guy is passionate about. We're in the far east coast of Canada. This guy is passionate about the Angels, and I'm just telling him, like, well, instantly I start thinking about the numbers, right? I'm saying, well, I'm not laying a price with them. I'm not laying this number with them. And you guys have given me enough passes on the day. I'm going to go and just say this is the one that I don't want to put my money on.
No, I'm not putting my money on it. And by the way, it goes from bad to worse for the Angels because Ohtani has a forearm strain. He's done as a pitcher. Done. Forget it. End the experiment. He just can't stay healthy. Make him a DH. Maybe teach him to play the outfield or first base. He's big enough, and they need somebody there at first base anyway because Pujols is 90. This has to end, okay? Now he's out. His pitching, they said 5 to 6 weeks, so that's the rest of the season. And now he's out for a few days because he can't swing the bat either. Forget about it, okay? He can't pitch.
Tony, one thing I've learned about you since I've known you, notes on notes on notes on notes. So I don't know if you're a huge fantasy guy, but I'm sure you have something for us here for a DFS stud and a DFS sleeper.
Well, one of the games that I had no opinion on is because I had questions on both sides. I would probably go sleeper. Milwaukee they really like Woodruff. And I think you can get a probably pretty good price on him with this lineups going tonight. You got and the stud would be Fried. I just really, really like Fried tonight against that curveball against that young Toronto lineup. So as far as hitters go, I really don't have an opinion on that.
I'll give you 2 pitchers, Malley, but I'd be reluctant on him because he finds a way never to get a win. I think I'd take a shot with Singer. The wind's blowing in. He's going to be dirt cheap as far as fantasy prices are concerned. And I think he's got a good chance to pitch a good game against the Cubs with the weather conditions being favorable. This could be a low-scoring game.
What about you, Teddy? If someone has their app open up right now, what are they plugging in?
So Molly was the guy I was going to talk about for starters because he's facing a lineup that is ice cold. From a lineup standpoint, maybe look at some of the Red Sox today. I think it's a very favorable matchup in many regards for Boston, whether it's Vasquez, whether it's Bogarts, whether it's JD Martinez, whether it's Devers. I wouldn't mind having a Red Sox heavy lineup in fantasy and DFS tonight.
Well, guys, I enjoyed this show. I had a lot of fun. It's always fun to have a couple laughs and learn a few things. I hope all the viewers as well had a chance to learn a few things, get some winners off of us. You can use the coupon code 399MLB to get any of these guys, including myself, full season for $399. Also, do not forget, week 69 is the coupon code to get a week from anybody at both sites, Wager Talk and Sports Memo, for just $69, $10 a day. It's $2 Tuesday as well. Lots of promos, lots of great value, lots of good spots. Teddy said it. I mean, don't buy plays today. Buy packages today. It's a privilege to work with all 3 of those guys. For Tony Finn, Teddy Covers, Dave Kogan, I'm Andrew McGinnis. We'll see you tomorrow. First pitch, 2 p.m. Eastern Time.